All right, House of Payne fans, kind of sad because I literally had to re-record this video. I had damn near finished recording this review the first time, but then they just started cutting grass outside of my apartment area. And at first, you could barely hear it, but then they got right up on the window, weed eating and everything. And I'm like, well, damn it, you know what? I got to go ahead and re-record this thing. So yeah, Payneful Lesson, Season 10, Episode 2, 4 out of 10. I know that's a bit low, but I'll explain it soon enough. But in any case, please, if you take a moment to like this video, go ahead and follow me on social media. Links are in the description box below. Hit subscribe and hit that bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content on the channel. Now, for me personally, it did hurt to do this review the first time, that is, because trust and believe, it sounded kind of bad. It wasn't like bad because of the, cutting grass thing. That was just the quality. But in terms of my demeanor, I didn't really know what to say. I felt conflicted because last week was so good. And this week, unfortunately, well, it didn't really live up to the same level of quality. In my opinion, that is. I felt like this episode fell short and at the same time, unfortunately, brought about some of the tropes that made last season, well, not end up too well. Apparently, if I'm not mistaken, this episode was written by Tyler Perry, while last week's was not, which could explain a few things. So this episode starts off with, oh God, this first scene between Ella and CJ. When I tell you the return of the laugh track, oh God. Return of the Mac. No. Return of the laugh track. No, seriously. They did not need to use that much. But in any case, CJ's struggling to go downstairs because Ella's like, wait, what are you doing, baby? I thought you'd be upstairs in bed resting. Well, yeah, Janine, using this stuff on her hair. And then, the bedroom is it's the heat in there. I just felt more comfortable on the couch. So basically, he's trying to avoid feeling stiff in the neck and back, so he just wants to take a nice nap. And Ella's trying to just make him happy. It's like, look, I know you told me you didn't want me to, but I'll go ahead and make you some oxtails. I just want to make sure you get your strength back so you're able to get back on your feet. So we got Calvin coming in right when CJ is about to relax because he needs a quote-unquote favor. Since his new fiance is coming over to his place, he wants to make a fancy dinner. So apparently Laura and Calvin did get engaged after the finale last season. And I really do wish we could have seen that on screen, but it is what it is. It's just the fact that last week it was established that, oh yeah, the first episode of season 10 picks right where we left off last season, basically the day after. But I don't know the time skip between episodes now, but it is what it is. The engagement happened. There we go. But basically he wants to borrow the fixings for the new dinner, the fancy dinner. Basically, I'll make the food. I just need the plates and everything like that, because paper towels and whatnot ain't going to cut it. Trust me, as a bachelor who uses paper utensils and everything, I know that's going to be a struggle for me if I ever meet somebody and have a girl over and I have to cook her or something along those lines. So in any case, all right, then after he handles business with CJ, he goes into the kitchen to talk with his mom. Ella is reluctant to hand over the family recipe for lasagna, but she eventually caves in, telling Calvin that, hey, I want to text you the ingredients, but the thing is, you need to follow every single instruction to a T. And I love the fact that the Reynolds wrap she was using was in the same packaging that I use. I mean, obviously in shows and movies, they have to be careful about certain items having their name advertised on it. So it might say something generic like foil, cereal, butter. But I just love the fact that, that Reynolds wrap was on the counter. I don't know why, but I just love that little nice touch. But, even though Ella didn't want to give over the recipe, and apparently Calvin can't cook, which we'll see later in the episode, Calvin explains that he wants to make this romantic for his new fiance. The fact that, he wants to do right by Laura, pretty much, and he goes into this more later in the episode, but he makes it a point to be a better man than he was in his previous relationship. So that's what really warms Ella's heart like the oven, because Calvin's like, wait, it's hot. Yeah, it's an oven. And yeah, the man can't cook. So he grabs the hot sauce and gets out of there. Ella says she has to run a couple errands because Curtis is really serious about his new barbecue venture. So when CJ is about to get some peace and quiet, Malik and Lisa burst into the house. Apparently, Malik was 25 minutes late to pick her up when, you know, he said he was only 5 minutes late. But, you know, women and men's time, I guess you could say variations can vary, if you will. What's 30 minutes to a woman could be 5 hours to a man, vice versa. Who knows? But in any case, you know, CJ, I believe, could use some help. And, you know, they both go upstairs while he's in the need of assistance. But then as soon as Malik comes back down when CJ's trying to get up, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Leave me alone. And then Lisa comes down. Are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. So from there, you know, Malik is just freaking out because of the fact that, you know, there's a lot going on. Lisa's just acting irrational. I was like, yes, son, she's pregnant. But, you know, he's balancing school, this living arrangement. Lisa's keeping him up the wall, you know, just making him crawl up the walls. So he has to apologize, and he asks Lisa to keep an eye on his dad while he goes to see Uncle Curtis. And Curtis is on the phone with Floyd, I believe, to pick up some supplies for the barbecue tour, because apparently it's a big thing that could change him and Ella's life. And hopefully it'll be a little bit different than his plans on Florida, and we know that's a dream. But in any case, I thought it was a pretty good scene. We got some name drops early in the episode, Janine, and now we got Floyd. So we go over to Malik, arriving for some advice. Basically the fact that his dad isn't accepting help from anyone, and he finds it not just a struggle because of what CJ is going through, but the fact that, you know, hey, I'm staying home from school, you know, to take care of him, and, you know, I just hate to see him in this position given the fact that he's a grown man who's dealing with a lot of physical issues, and he doesn't want to accept anybody's help. I just like the fact that, you know, Malik was so vulnerable here, saying that, look, my dad's in trouble. I want to help. He won't accept it, and it hurts. So he's like, look, if he won't listen to me, maybe he'll listen to you. So we go over to Calvin at his condo, but I'll get to that right after the CJ stuff. I figure I might as well go ahead and review that stuff, you know, straight through. So we go over to CJ, who had tripped and fell over, and he jokes about how he needed a life alert. You know, I need one of those things where, you know, I've fallen and I can't get up. And Lisa's standing there watching. Now, I'm going to assume that she did try to help CJ after he fell, but he refused any assistance at all, because if she literally just stood there and watched this man struggle to get up because it's like, oh no, I was just putting the mints back in this bowl, I don't think that would be a good reflection on her. I would like to think that he fell, she rushed to his aid, he refused it, because when they walk in the house, Malik and Curtis, you know, Malik is like, well, Lisa, I thought I told you to watch my dad. I am. He's struggling to get up. And then as soon as she goes back up the stairs, you see Curtis say, hey, Lisa. So that was pretty funny. Better than pervert Curtis from early season 9. So this is a good scene in itself, because we see Uncle Curtis being, you know, Uncle Curtis. Basically the fact that CJ is reluctant to accept help because, you know, thinking back to, you know, when Janine was going through the drug thing and he had to watch and raise his kids by himself. He's used to holding down the fort solo. He's the man of the house. And Curtis is like, look, son, what really shows what a man's made of is when he is able to accept the fact that he needs help and isn't ashamed to ask and accept help. And that's a great scene, but I do feel like it's a little weird because CJ to be that prideful doesn't really make a lot of sense. Not to mention when he said he held it down when Janine was going through what she was going through. But I'm also thinking, well, CJ, your aunt and uncle, and even Calvin to an extent, helped out. It wasn't just you. So I do feel like while this was a solid lesson, I don't know if it really fit the CJ we knew in the earlier seasons of House of Payne. And I mean, yeah, this obviously is in reference to the title, A Painful Lesson, but a good lesson, but I'm not sure if it was the right character it should have went to. Now we go over to the loft and the condo, and Calvin is struggling to get the kitchen, you know, together, and Laura comes in looking fine as I don't know what. I don't know if it was the heels, the dress, the hair, but she was on point. And she came in and was, look, I had a long week, ready for my man to take care of me, fix a good meal because I am hungry. So, you know, it starts off with a glass of wine and he's really struggling. I mean, apparently him and Miranda both don't know their way around the kitchen to save their lives. So from there, you know, Laura is, you know, kind of nervous because every time she turns her head to, you know, look away from the kitchen, something falls. Calvin burns himself. The oven is just smoking. So then Calvin finally breaks down and says, look, the reason I'm doing all this is because I want to do right by you. Basically, everything that failed in my last relationship, I don't want to happen again. I want to just show you what it's like for me. I just want to show you what it's like to come home from work to a man like me. And Laura obviously isn't impressed by the cooking, but the sentiment was great. The fact that she knew the man she, you know, accepted the engagement from. Calvin's a good man. You know, he does bring a good point. It's like, look, I don't know what, you know, Miranda had told you about me, but she says, I don't care. I didn't say yes to the rumors and what Miranda told me. I said yes because of the Calvin I know now. A great scene. Now, I feel like this lesson was very, very well put and it was placed on the right character. So the plan is, in order to, you know, well, they're hungry. They opt to go over to CJ's house because Ella has the oxtails and everything ready. They have a great dinner scene. It was great to see the family together, minus the twins, Janine, Jasmine. Well, yeah, Miranda didn't need to be there. But it's funny because they have some, you know, funny moments between the characters. Apparently, Curtis used to be fit and used to be on the fireman calendar. And at the end of the night, Ella actually went ahead and made a lasagna because she knew Calvin would botch it up. And I think one of the funny moments is when they're about to eat the oxtails and everything. It's like, CJ's like, where's my hot sauce? And then Calvin pulls it out of his pocket because he actually grabbed it right before him and Laura left. And then at the end of the episode, everybody goes home and CJ needs help from the table. So overall, it was a decent episode in itself, but I still say 4 out of 10 because it did kind of drop the ball in some places between the laugh track and some scenes that really didn't need to be drawn out as long as they were. So if you feel the same way, you know, let me know in the comments. If you think my score is too low, feel free to let me know as well. I just don't think this lived up to the quality of last week's episode. Again, some very good lessons, but I do feel like the CJ lesson was a bit misplaced, and I feel like the Calvin lesson was on point. But other than that, let's get the conversation going below. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.